Welcome everyone. My name is Sean, and today I want to talk about this clip that I was sent from a show called The Culture Report. I originally got a TikTok clip, but the full clip in its full context is even better, where this guy actually describes some of the problems in black businesses and suggests room for improvement, and he is greeted with the exact same response that you would expect by this woman sitting across from him. I find this clip to be incredibly fascinating. It talks about the lacking in terms of customer service from within the black community, and I think it is worth a discussion because anybody who's trying to actually make improvements and suggest making improvements from within a community rather than demanding people externally change what's going on in that community, I think is going in the right direction, and that's what I want to talk about. But before we do, this video is sponsored by a company with great customer service, by the way. So let me toss it to the sponsor, then we'll come back over here and discuss this whole thing on the other side. US debt spike could be setting us up for a long-term rally in gold. Since March of 2020, the federal government has added $8 trillion with a T to the national debt, and over that same period of time, gold is up 50%. To make matters worse, BRICS nations and oil-rich nations like Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates have been meeting possibly to redirect away from the petrodollar to some other form of currency. It appears that Biden's Build Back Better plan of increased spending and increased regulation is never going to end, and that is likely to slow economic growth. But the thing is, you don't have to panic. You don't have to be left holding the bag. You can actually do something to secure your investments and protect yourself against the oncoming disaster. Call America's Precious Metal Company, National Gold Group at 866-826-2603 and learn how to secure your investments today. Make sure you mention my channel, Actual Justice Warrior, so that they know that I sent you, and get on the path of securing your future. There is always a risk with any investment, and past performance is not a guarantee of future results.
We don't embrace
media.
our own black media.
Exactly.
We always want to run to the outside because of whatever reasons, and we don't empower our own. We wonder why we don't control.
Yeah.
Because media influences the entire world.
Exactly.
The entire world. If we don't have bigger media outlets giving voices to us, then we are just song and dance motherfuckers, and I don't understand that.
We do that with everything, though. We do that with Black Dollar. Once we get a dollar, we don't go spend it with other black brands. We go and run and jump outside.
I'm not
our
spending
culture.
that with a black brand because it's a black brand. I don't like that narrative either. Let's spin with black.
Everybody else does it.
Black people, no, the they don't, Tamara. You can stop with the slick marks. It don't work.
So this show is called The Culture Report, and essentially prior to this point in the conversation to which the TikTok clip that was sent over to me started, they were discussing a musical artist or somebody, I don't recall exactly at the time of recording this video, and how this person, who happened to be a black person, was not going and doing shows in black media, and then these same people will turn around and say, oh, black media is not as influential. Essentially, they were making the argument that it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So then this woman turned around and decided to make it about the black dollar not staying in the black community and not going to black businesses. And he is obviously having none of that.
Asians don't care if you have good
Can I fucking get my point out, bro? Okay, then shut the fuck up. Let me get my point out. Let me get my point out.
Go ahead. You
Bottom line
say
is
the
this.
same thing.
No, I'm not going to say the
product's
same
not
thing.
good.
No,
So I'm
no,
not
it's not. The
gonna
product's
spend
not good. I don't want anyone supporting Ray because Ray is black. I want people supporting Ray because Ray is excellent.
Now, I just want to point out that the woman's perspective about how the dollar doesn't stay in the black community and how every other ethnic group keeps their own dollars within their communities is the dominant left-wing narrative in this country, and it's being immediately dismissed by this guy, and he's about to cut to the heart of the issue. However, there's a bit of a back and forth. Unfortunately, I have to censor some of this. However, you can watch this segment. It's at the end of episode 24 of The Culture Report, because I think it is quite illuminating, and maybe you're put off by me cutting out the sound in order to censor out the swear words, because the point that's about to be made is absolutely crucial.
And the reality is that the black people have the worst customer service in the motherfucking world. And you can say that you don't agree with that because I'm going to why. If we get our customer service better, we'll make more business. Bottom line. So you can say whatever you want.
When you go to the Chinese restaurant, they nice to you. They, hey, Ray, how you doing today? No, they just as mean.
So this is really interesting because what you have right here is something that we see often in conservative media, which is somebody stating an uncomfortable truth and then people reacting negatively to it. Now, I will say, if you're on any kind of right-leaning space or a right-leaning platform and you happen to be a black person and you say an uncomfortable truth, you can expect a very similar reaction from the left wing, which is people attacking the messenger rather than addressing the point right here. And by the way, when he was trying to get out his message, you notice that the dominant left-wing narrative was being thrown in his direction, even though I have nothing that makes me assume that this guy is even remotely right-wing. However, what he just said was an uncomfortable truth, and it's always easier to go after the messenger than it is to address the actual thing that was said, aka the message.
When you go to the Chinese restaurant, they nice to you. Hey Ray, how you doing today? No, they just as mean.
Hey, Sue,
I don't go to
Y'all
the Chinese restaurants.
All right, but you know what I'm saying, Ray. Like,
I don't
stop.
go.
We can yell.
I'm
You're yelling.
speaking
Don't
for
make
Ray.
your point.
I'm speaking
more
for Ray.
At the end of the day, Asians don't sit there and say, hey, your customer service has to be perfect. Your product has to be A1 before I support you. They support you.
So,
Other
hold on.
races support you.
So right here we have a deflection, and that deflection is to Asians and how Asians supposedly have bad customer service. Now, I happen to live in an Asian neighborhood, and I know for a fact that most Asian places of business actually have wonderful customer service. Now, there is certain situations with certain Asian individuals, especially the elderly, especially people who immigrate from their country of origin rather than people who are born here, where the line of respect and the line of manners is a bit different than what we have in the United States of America. One of the jokes that I often tell on this channel is that I've lived in a building for years, and when I come up to my door, any of my landlord's kids will hold open the door for me very politely. However, conversely, sometimes the landlords will close and lock the door in front of me despite the fact that they know who I am. And this is because a lot of manners and a lot of respect are dependent on age, and the common courtesies that you would expect in America from well-mannered people are actually quite different and again age-tiered in terms of Asian culture. But once you get to that next generation, Asians have wonderful customer service. It's just a fact. And this guy actually cuts in with an anecdote about a specific place, and she immediately tries to shoot it down because the point was not to actually make a point about Asians. It was to not address the point being brought up by the first person.
At the end of the day, Asians don't sit there and say, hey, your customer service has to be perfect. Your product has to be A1 before I support you. They support you.
So
Other
hold on.
races support you.
So Sue in the West End from American Deli she's a very customer service driven individual. She understands.
Shout out to the one Asian.
Oh my God.
Sue moved to the West End. Sue moved to the West End, and Sue started selling wings. And now you can take a selfie with Sue. You can have a good time with
And
Sue.
Sue only plays Gucci like music.
She does.
Like
So that makes sense why he's defending Sue.
She's
That's
playing
it.
to her audience.
She's playing it.
She understands her
So
audience.
y'all gonna go to black people restaurants because you can take
Nah,
selfies?
until hold on. So we talk about black customer service. I had this conversation the other day with one of our artists. She was like, my nail tech moved from Atlanta. I was like, I got another one for you. She asked me, she's like, she black? I was like, yeah. She's like, no, I don't want to go there. She probably don't do feet. And she probably going to charge me an arm and a leg. And I was like, she's like, every black nail tech she went to in Atlanta are like, I'm not going to touch your feet. They charge you an extra a reservation fee, and then they give you service when you get there. And I was like, damn, that's...
Now this is really interesting, and honestly, on my own, I never would have thought about this because I don't get manicures or pedicures, but the idea that black nail techs or black manicurists or pedicurists don't touch your feet because they find that disgusting is quite interesting and compelling, because if you guys know, there's all these negative things said from within the black community about how all their nail shops and whatnot are Asian, but the thing is, if black nail techs aren't doing pedicures, then you're giving up a huge portion of the market, and if they have poor customer service, that makes matters even worse. So that is quite interesting of an anecdote coming from him, but we do know of an anecdote of the reverse of this that actually really emphasizes the original point. What is the most stereotypical black business that you see all the time in movies that people in the community like going to, that they enjoy being there, that brings people old and young all at the same time in order to have a good time? Now, you should have pictured in your mind the black barbershop, but what makes the black barbershop different from other black businesses? The fact of the matter is, it's not because they have this magical power to cut black people's hair or anything like that. It's because of the customer service. It's because of the family environment. Again, we're talking about the stereotype. I'm not saying that every black barbershop is like that. I'm not saying that there aren't other barbershops like Italian barbershops that don't give a similar welcoming environment, but this is the business that people point to all the time in movies and in pop culture, and this is because barbershops, particularly for black people, have good customer service. They have that reputation, but other black businesses don't seem to have that. And businesses that predominantly employ black people a lot of times don't seem to have that. One of the things that is very notable in this country in terms of fast food restaurants is the fact that Popeye's Chicken, and by the way, they're actually going to bring fast food restaurants up later in the conversation, has horrible customer service. And if you look at the staff of your typical Popeye's Chicken, because they happen to be more regional, they started out more concentrated in the South, they tend to be disproportionately black, and a lot of them are black females. And this kind of cuts to the heart of what was brought up initially and what we will be brought back to in a little bit. And that is that customer service happens to be significantly lacking in many black businesses across the country. Obviously, there are notable exceptions to this rule. We all understand that, but the examples do pile up. And once you start connecting these dots and noticing this pattern, it's something that needs to be changed from within the community.
I spend $500,000 a year on bullshit, bro. And I love spending money. And the reason why I don't spend with black establishments like that, because they got fucked up attitudes. They don't give you a smile. They don't even say, hello, how you doing, man? Take your order. But I'm supposed to keep spending with them because they look like me? Fuck that. The rich are going to, the people that are going to rise to the top, the people that understand what it takes to win. Not the people that feel like you should let me win because they let them win. That's not how you win.
Again, this is an absolutely stellar point. I never think to myself that I need to go to white and or Hispanic or specifically Irish and Puerto Rican businesses just because that happens to be my personal ethnic background. I go to the businesses that have the products that I need, but one of the things that keeps me going back is places that have good customer service. And by the way, a lot of times you might not even notice the customer service because it's baseline good, but you definitely remember and you definitely recall places with exceptional customer service versus places that have terrible customer service. And I've experienced both. There's an Italian restaurant that I've been to out in Long Island, and these people are on top of everything. It is noticeable by everybody at the table, and I've actually gone out of my way, because I live nowhere near there, to go to that Italian restaurant, not just for the food. I live in New York City. You can get good Italian food in a lot of places, but for the customer service, because they treat you that well. These are the kind of people, they spot your water coming a little low, they fill it up immediately. When you go to the bathroom, they actually fold your napkin back and present it for you by the time you get back to the table. That is how high-end the service is at this place, and this is not one of those above and beyond Italian restaurants, even though the food is absolutely stellar. So people definitely remember customer service, and when you're treated like that, when you're welcome like that, that is more likely to make you return to the business. It's just a fact.
And the art of customer service is like almost, I don't know where it went, but like it's very important. Like think about anything that you're doing, even selling a product, it's about the service behind it. So I think we have to amplify that.
It is the only thing that matters. The only thing that matters is the service. We are in a service business. I am in a service business. I am successful. 16 years later, I love Tehran. Guess why you love Tehran? Because Tehran understands when I walk in this bitch, I'm a service. Yeah. You don't look at this bitch and walk here like I'm the biggest songwriter in the world. Y'all all need to bow down to me. That's why we rich. And my thing is, a black man that has made millions of dollars and want to see other black people make millions of dollars, I know the one thing that's the difference is the fucking attitude. That's why I yell, because the attitude is the difference. And if you fix your attitude, everything else will follow.
No lies detected at all whatsoever. He is 100% right, 100% dead on, and we all know, we've all encountered, we've all experienced people who are always talking about what this person is doing, what that person is doing, what everybody else is doing wrong, but can never confront their own faults, can never adjust their own attitude, and therefore they are destined to be unsuccessful until they change something from within, because it's all on you ultimately.
The attitude is the difference. And if you fix your attitude, everything else will follow. But you think, well, they ain't got to fix their attitude. Well, we ain't them. We ain't them. Because if we was them, we would be where they are. We are us. And the thing that's holding us back is we don't treat each other with respect. We don't treat each other like we're thankful.
Again, he's 100% right. Most people do not care who owns the place of business that they're going to. If the customer service is on point, it doesn't matter. For instance, one of my favorite types of restaurants to eat at are Ethiopian restaurants. Ethiopian restaurants are an experience. They have good customer service. The waiters are engaged. A lot of them will do a specific ceremony when they bring you out the coffee because it originated in Ethiopia. And this is a good type of business. But other restaurants that happen to be Black owned also tend to have this vibe, especially if they're Southern influence. It's welcoming. They try to give you that family kind of vibe, and people appreciate that. And this needs to be carried over to other businesses from within the Black community so that other people can feel welcome. He's really striking at this. He's talking about his own success and how he realized that he has to serve the customer in order to be successful. And I think this, again, is solid advice that should be amplified.
I worked at McDonald's and I worked at Chick-fil-A. That changed my life. When I worked at McDonald's, they told me the goal is to get the customer out in 45 seconds. 30 seconds or less. That was the goal. They ain't say smile. They ain't say none of that. They said the goal is to get them in and out 30 seconds. When I went to work for Chick-fil-A, they was like, we're going to pay you. They asked me how much I made per hour. I told them. Then they said, we're going to pay you $2 extra for that. Then I'm 16, Dina. $2 extra an hour is a lot when you're 16. So he was like, and I smiled. And he said, you know what I'm giving you that extra $2 for? Your smile. I don't care if you're cooking. I don't care if you're sweeping. I don't care what you're doing. You need to have a smile on your face. And meanwhile, that's why when we see a Chick-fil-A, you'll see 50 cars in line and you'll wait, right? But if you see a McDonald's with 4 cars, you're like, the line's too long, right? Because they don't stress customer service.
Now, I reference Popeye specifically because they notoriously have the worst customer service in the fast food industry. Again, you can look it up for yourself. But I do like the comparison and contrasting of McDonald's and Chick-fil-A because Chick-fil-A is often rated as among the best. And by the way, even though McDonald's has huge market share, if you look at same-store sales, Chick-fil-A is above and beyond that. And part of the reason behind that is the fact that their employees just treat you better. It's an absolute objective fact. It is a goal from the company. It's a top-down cultural thing. And this is the reason why, as he stated, people are willing to wait in longer lines for Chick-fil-A than McDonald's by a factor of greater than 10.
So hold on, stop. So I'm trying to teach you how to get to a certain place, and you don't want to accept that you got to change your motherfucking attitude if you do. And instead of change your attitude, you want to bring up what Asians do. I don't know if the motherfucker is smiling by the way they talking. I don't know their culture. I know our culture, and I know our culture. Black women have bad attitudes, and so do a lot of black people. And my thing is that we want to make money, then fix your motherfucking attitude. Or you'll be off, and you'll see another motherfucker that's smiling, and they'll be like, they only picked her because she's white. No, we picked her because she smiled.
Look, the point of this video is not to crap on Black America or to crap on Black women in particular. The Black women that I happen to have known through my life are quite pleasant, but there is a reason why your stereotypical DMV worker is depicted often as a Black woman with a bad attitude. This is a cultural thing that the stereotype derives from, and you need to adjust that when people are noting what you're doing wrong in order to move forward. And he's 100% accurate about every example that he gave and about the fact that people value customer service. And oftentimes when you're comparing and contrasting the success of one group to another group, that issue is more down to behavior than anything else. I think it is very important to elevate people who are trying to get people to work on problems from within their own community. This is something that Jewish people have done in the United States of America throughout history. This is something that Irish people have done in America throughout history. Italians, the same thing. And over time, all these groups of people have gained greater acceptance in the United States of America because they integrated more with what are the norms of the United States of America. While, by the way, maintaining different distinctions that make their cultures unique. It is okay to make adjustments to better fit in and better succeed. And by the way, when you're successful, then you can focus on preserving, maintaining, and building out and exchanging aspects of your own culture.
And I just have to say, we have to change the mindset of looking at serving as a weakness. And you have to serve before you can lead anything. Absolutely. So you have to start.
And even when you lead, you're serving.
Even when you lead, you should be serving. So stop looking at service as something that's weak or like, I don't do that. It doesn't make sense. Like, that's what I would have to say. Like, my career, I have been in a lot of serving positions before I could become my own boss or my own leadership or be an entrepreneur. I had to learn and serve for other people for a very long time without the credit, without the pay. And that's how you become great.
Look, I don't know anything about this show overall. I don't know if it's successful beyond its YouTube numbers, but you know what? Based on this segment alone, I'm going to recommend that you guys listen to it. Scanning the topics myself, I'm probably not interested in most of the stuff that they cover, but there's some actual wisdom right here. And interestingly enough, you have people taking constructive criticism, and when I scan the comments of this video, people are praising that endpoint of the conversation. I might not have a ton of experience with black people in customer service roles, but obviously if you're getting such a reaction from everybody on the panel and in the comments, and by the way, the TikTok video, they seem to be speaking to some truth. And what I definitely can tell you for sure is customer service is as important as is being emphasized in this show. And it's a lesson that everyone, not just Black America, should take home with them if they want to succeed in the future. So yeah, definite recommend of the Culture Report. I will link this episode in the description of this video. Send your praise and all that. I think it is well deserved in this instance, but that is all I really have for you guys today. If you liked the video, show them by leaving a like. Subscribe for more content. Follow me on my social medias. Support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about a very interesting conversation about Black America. Till next time.